past 30 years or more. And it's interesting how this church has gained influence not just in the Chicago suburbs, but in the area of business and leadership. Bill Hybels, the pastor, has really become known as a leader of leaders, not just among pastors, but also among business leaders. The Harvard Business School, for 14 years, this March, next month, will be the 14th year that the Harvard Business School looks at Willow Creek as their only church and nonprofit case in their case studies in the business school. And in part because of how Willow Creek is run, over 8,000 members of Willow Creek Community Church volunteer every week in and around the church. And it's just awesome to see. I've been there a handful of times. I had the privilege of spending 2 days with Bill Hybels just over a year ago in South Haven, Michigan. Their church has purchased a little retreat area for leadership development, and I, along with a handful of a small group of pastors, got to spend 2 days talking church leadership with this guy that I just love. I really love him a lot. And the context of this message that we're going to hear this morning is the Leadership Summit. And I was just told recently, a couple years ago, it's now the largest leadership conference in the world of any kind, even in corporate business settings. Over 100,000 people watch this every August for 2 days live via satellite around the world now. It's now in South America and also Europe. A lot of business executives, it's not just for pastors. A lot of business executives fill rooms to invest 2 days listening to pastors and business leaders. Sometimes presidents, sitting presidents of the United States will be speakers at this conference. And this is from a few years ago, and I was actually there on campus at Willow Creek, facing the stage. I was just sitting left, in the left section, for this message that I believe was one of the most poignant messages in the last decade to church leaders. And there were a lot of executives and business leaders there as well, but you're going to see it. This is a leadership context here that this message is delivered in. And I intentionally chose this message this morning really prayerfully, asking God, direct me, show me what we should spend our time focused on Sunday morning. And this was it. And some of you don't see yourself as a leader, and maybe you'll never be a leader, and that's okay. But I ask you to open your heart, even in the middle of this leadership. This is the keynote message from 3 years ago that opened the conference. And it defined in my heart something that happened to me many years ago by God's hand. And I believe that if you're open to what God would say, that you would see some defining moments happen in your heart as well from the heart of God. So let's watch as Bill Hybels is introduced at Willow Creek to begin the Leadership Summit a few years ago.